Good morning. Lynn Christian is Soul Salt, and we're going to strong start your morning. So imagine that you are at a puppet show. You have a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old sitting with you. And as you watch the puppet show, the curtains open, and there is Sally, a puppet, and Anne, another puppet. And Sally is holding on to a marble. Now there's also a small basket and a small box on the stage with the puppets. Sally walks over to the basket and puts the marble in the basket, and then Sally turns around and leaves the stage. Anne watches her leave the stage, and when she's certain that Sally's gone, Anne walks over, takes the marble out of the basket, and puts it inside of the box, and then goes back to her position as if nothing happened. Sally comes back on the stage, and you turn to the 3-year-old and ask the 3-year-old, where do you think Sally will look for the marble? And the 3-year-old says, in the box, where it is. You turn to the 5-year-old and ask the very same question, where do you think Sally is going to look for her marble? And the 5-year-old will say, in the basket where she left it. Now the difference between a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old is only 2 years, but in that development, scientists tell us that, and psychologists have a term for this called the theory of mind, that the 3-year-old hasn't developed this understanding that their reality, what they see, and putting the marble in the box is not a shared reality with everyone else, because not everyone saw that, particularly Sally. But the 5-year-old is aware of this. The 5-year-old has matured enough, is clever enough to realize that this is a trick that Anne is playing on Sally, and that Sally won't look in the box, she'll go to the basket because she hasn't seen what the audience has seen. Now I'm breaking this down to give you an actual study that you can reference in our blog that's affiliated with this story today, to share with you that sometimes we act more like the 3-year-old than the clever 5-year-old. And you might be thinking, well, I never do that. Well, I might beg to differ, and my former mentor, Judith E. Glaser, would probably beg to differ with you as well. She writes about this. She calls it blind spot number 1 in conversations, where we believe that people will assume and think and feel and believe what we believe. She calls it blind spot number 1. One way to detect if you're stuck in this blind spot is if you get so engrossed in being upset at people when they don't see the pictures in your head while you're talking. You may assume because you can see the images, the concepts, the theory, the process that you're noodling on, and you're using words that the pictures in your head match with the words you're using, and everyone comprehends what you're saying. Don't get stuck in that. If you get engrossed in that, you're over here with a 3-year-old thinking that just because you think it, and you're using words that match what you're thinking, everyone will share the same reality. They won't. Now, another place where we can get stuck in a sorry-ass sort of habit is this. If you detect that you have to be right, that your point of view, the way you see it, you saw that marble go into the box, so it's in the box. Everybody knows that, that's been looking at it. If you find yourself battling with concepts like this at work or at home, you may be addicted to being right. You may be addicted to wanting things to be the way you perceive them. So what do you do about it? Well, watch yourself, because if you are addicted to being right, you're getting dopamine hits and you're thinking that that's a great way to be, and everybody else feels awful and they start to resent you. So take a piece of paper, fold it in half, literally track yourself with paper, pen, and pencil. Because when we're writing, we're activating that part of our brain that's 65% visual, and we're putting a kinesthetic feel in our body about what our pattern is. You can divide part of that paper into the 3-year-old that thinks everyone thinks, feels, and believes what you believe, or the 5-year-old, no, maybe there are different realities. And then chart yourself throughout a day or 5 days and see if you're with a 3-year-old, assuming too often that what you think is the reality and what you think and feel and believe is right and is what everyone should think and feel and believe. Or if you can be more like the clever 5-year-old or even an advanced adult who realizes there are different realities. Somehow we have to find room for our mutual realities to be blended to find mutual success. I saw an example of this. So if you're looking, give me an example, Lynn. Today I noticed on an Instagram feed that Marianne Williamson is running for president. And then I noticed underneath it that the most recent comment in capital letters was, "No effing way. What do you effing think you know about leadership?" And I sat with that for a moment. And I wondered, what am I thinking and feeling about this person who's screaming on Instagram that has no concept, perhaps, of the life history and the message that Marianne Williamson was saying? Because what she was saying was, we don't need to go in and reform government, we need to override it with a new system of governing. Okay, that's her concept, that's her perception. If you look at her track record, if you had an open mind, could see lots of ways that she has leadership. But it's a different kind of leadership than maybe we're used to in, say, politics or business. Now, I'm not a proponent of Marianne Williamson for president. I'm observing something that I saw today because I don't have strong opinions about her running for president. But I had a very strong response when I saw this person screaming at her, using the F-bomb, capital letters, and almost acting like the 3-year-old of, what do you know about leadership, instead of actually looking at maybe what she does know and how she may have a different reality. And we are living in a time where we are acting like 3-year-olds, where we feel like the things we believe in, the way we see the world, and our perceptions are right, and somebody else is wrong. And you know, that's really, the Tao Te Ching said, when we're worried about what's right and what's wrong, we've entered into a human condition of mental illness. Because there's so many things between right and wrong that are called different realities. And there's something that's real for one person and something that's real for another. So follow yourself. See where you are. Are you more like the 3-year-old or the 5-year-old? And what we need today are badasses who are willing to go to the middle ground, forget about right and wrong, forget about all of our deep feelings and beliefs, put those on the sideline for a moment and find out where we can have shared meaning, shared reality, and mutual success. Don't be a sorry-ass 3-year-old. Go out and be a clever, badass adult. Have a great week.